Hey guys, it's TechGirl21C, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do a shadow in Gimp. Okay, so first of all, what you want to do is make sure that your brush size is 60, and decide where your light's going to be coming from. So for me, that's the top left-hand corner. So what I'm just going to start by doing is I'm just going to start by making sure that my color is black, because you don't want to have funny colored shade. So I'll just make sure that it's black in my thing. And I also need to make sure that my brush is the brush, not the airbrush. Yeah. So my light's going to be coming in from the left hand side, so I'm going to be doing the shade on the right hand side. So just double checking that it's the right black, because when I was just checking it there, it isn't. And I am going to be doing it from the right hand side, and you do need a new layer for this, as I just forgot to check I had, because otherwise you'll end up mucking up your picture as well. Now I'm just going to be doing the tutorial for the shade today, though if you wish me to, I will do a tutorial later on the background. This is my first tutorial, so please don't judge if the voiceover isn't too great. Now I'm just going to start by doing the shade around the edges. It needs to overlap the black line, which is the edge of your picture, because otherwise it won't do the full shade. It won't do the shadow on the other side, it will just do a weird thing on it. So part of making an object look 3D is having this shadow, because as you can see, this picture I've drawn into Gimp isn't that great at the moment, because it does not have any 3D. So I am using Mac OS for this, but it works as well with Windows. So I'm just drawing along the side now, making sure that it's nice and deep. Oops, I forgot to use the right brush, so I'll just change it to that right brush there. So you need to make sure you have the paintbrush, not the airbrush, as I just found out, because it won't work that way. Now make sure that it's still got the 60 radius, because you don't want it to have changed. Now as you can see, that's a lot darker, which will give for a better shadow later on. Right, so I'm just doing it along the edge now, and I'm just going to do heaps along the side of the bull, because obviously you don't want the bull to be light, because that will be a dark part, as there's no light that's going to be hitting it. In general, there's not really going to be much light on this side, as the light is coming from the other side. So I'm just doing a down around the sack now, so quite a bit around there once again, because you do want the light not to be hitting it. I'm just going to do some in between the two legs, because I don't think any light gets in there, so just a dot or so will do. And down around the sack part as well, because that's definitely not going to have much light. And yeah, so this is my first tutorial, as I mentioned earlier, so please excuse anything. And this minion I drew from scratch. I got a tutorial and went over it, and then I coloured it in using the bucket font. Just going to do some on that side, because I accidentally did some on the other side, but light will be hitting that leg but not the left leg. So I'll just do some in the arms. No, I'll leave that with a thinner brush actually on second thoughts. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my radius down a bit to 20, because that's better than having it on 60. Sorry if you can hear my laptop, it's overheating a little from the voiceover, because the voiceover is pretty hard on it. Okay, so I'm just going to do some around the arms, because I don't think there's going to be much in the way of light there, so we'll just put in some shadow instead. And you've got a slight problem with the thinner brush because it may not give the shadow by going over the other line, so you've just got to be a bit careful with that. Just going to put some in around the armpit area, so you've got the definition there. And I don't think I'll need any in the mouth. And once again, as the arms bent over, a good idea to have some in there as well. I'm also going to do some in the inner part of the sack, as the light will be hitting the other side of the sack, not that itself. So that naturally would be quite a dark area if this was real life. Okie dokie. So yeah. Just going to do some around the glasses now a bit. On the right hand side as well, because that's the darker side. Because the glasses, as I'm sure you've all seen the movies, Despicable Me 1 and Despicable Me 2. So you know that the minions have quite thick glasses, so there won't be much light in there. So I'm just going to do some around there and around the strap holding the glasses to their face. Right. I've also done a little dot in there because in between the nose area, because that's not going to have much light in there either. Now I'm just going to do some lines on the black up there. Now don't worry about the lines, they will be made thinner later on. We're just doing all the lines first, and I have made it slightly, and I'm just doing more in the area for where you can see the line on the wrinkles of the white part of the hat. Sorry if you can hear the rain outside, it's thunderstorming where I am. And I'm just going to do the same on the other side because it looks a lot better with the definition in there. Right. Just make sure that you have it in as far as you want, because you don't want it looking a bit being obvious that you've done it. I'm also going to do some on the right side of the face, because that's where there will be a lot of shadow as well. Because if you imagine a glass, it's darker on the side which is furthest from the source of light, isn't it? So it's the same with the minions, as they've kind of got the glass kind of shape for their thing. Now I'm going to edit the mode. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the opacity down, which means that the lines will become less. Now I think that's a little too low possibly, so I might bring it up again a little more. Oh no, that will be fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into filter. Sorry you can't see it here, but oh, actually I will bring it up. Yeah, I think that will probably be good. Yeah, that will probably be good. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to blur it, and I am going to go into filter. Sorry you can't see it, as I didn't want you seeing other things as well. Actually I might just add in a little more on the side as well, because yeah, just thinking about it, it needs a slight bit more definition around the right hand side underneath the arms, and especially on the side of the face. So I'm going to go into filter now, actually, finally, I think. And I'm going to click on blur and Gaussian blur. Sorry you can't see the filter box because I didn't want you seeing my username and other things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the blur radius quite a bit more, but not that much more. I think about 20 probably. So yeah, 20, 30 I think. Yeah, 30 will be good. And as you can see, that just gives it that bit of a blur. And now, because it's been blurred, it's not quite so clear as lines, and gives it that little bit more definition. So I am going to have to give it a little more blur, I think, because it is quite a bit of blur here. So once again, I will go back into blur and Gaussian blur. I think that's how you pronounce it. And I'm just going to make it a little bit more, maybe 35, 40. Yeah, 35 should be good. Make sure the horizontal and vertical are the same, or it will be rectangular, not circular, which wouldn't be that good. So now, as you can see, it's got some quite good shadows there. And yeah, I think that's it. That, guys, is how you create the blur effect in Gimp. The shade effect in Gimp to give a bit more definition. Bye!